Does this mic work?
Hello?
Well then, fuck that mic!
You're listening to the only podcast that admits they might know what they are talking about.
And that's just facts!
This is We Might Know Sports. With Kevin.
Mayweather fans are going to be disappointed because McGregor's winning in the third round by knockout.
Steffan.
I'm going Mayweather by decision.
And Corey.
I'm going Mayweather in 10.
Buckle up, buckaroo!
Here in round 10 against Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather landing the right hands now at will and tags McGregor again. Floyd Mayweather has McGregor on the ropes, literally and figuratively. How is the notorious one still standing?
And that's it.
Oh, Robert Byrne has stopped the fight.
And here we go.
They said it wouldn't change us, but we always gonna remain us. We gon' never ever change her. We gon' never ever change her. We gon' never ever change her.
All right, episode 33. What a weekend it was. Do you guys enjoy all the events and festivities of this past weekend? I mean, Game of Thrones season 7 finale. It was spectacular.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know if there was anything else this past weekend. Do you guys know?
There was a Future concert in Syracuse.
There was the VMAs. Anything else? Are we forgetting something?
Like there was a fight.
Oh, that thing. I totally forgot. So the fight that we've been talking about, for the last 3 months now, happened?
Yeah, probably ever since we debated if it would even happen or not.
So, yeah, well, the debate, I think, started like 5 months ago. So, one of us guessed it correctly. And that would be the guy, wrong way, in the middle. That way.
This guy.
That guy.
This
Golf
Get a
clap.
golf clap.
Golf clap. Do you feel like you guessed it, or that you had that gut feeling? Is that why you went with the 10th round?
I had the gut feeling that he tried to drown him late, that he would try to tire him out. So it kind of went that way. The thing that I didn't predict is how the first few rounds went. I did not even think it would be close like that. I can't even say it was close. It wasn't close. McGregor was beating the brakes off of him for 3 rounds.
Yeah. Well, at least to the viewer, it was close. Apparently, the judges only felt McGregor won the first round. So
Yeah.
there was one other judge that ruled that he won the 3rd round, but that was it.
As a viewer, I would have given him 1, 2, 3 in round 8. So heading into round 10, I had it 5-4.
I mean, needless to say, CBS did a pretty good job at locking this thing down. They delayed it because they had trouble with their servers, so that was kind of interesting. And then trying to find it through my normal sources of streams, it was tough. I ended up resorting to watching someone watch it on Periscope, so I couldn't get my normal illegal streams. I mean, hypothetically, I couldn't get my normal illegal streams. I always pay for fights. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. I heard there was a lot of people trying to do it on Facebook Live, and I don't know if Facebook couldn't keep up, because I know several people who were able to watch it that way.
I tried to, it wasn't hard once you found like a reliable source, but you had to deal with like them like turning it away, and I found one that was streaming like us, how we stream stuff, and like in between rounds he would be like, follow me on Instagram, and cut away and put the attention on him, and it's like, dude, no one cares, like, go away, no one likes you.
He's trying to build a brand.
maybe that's what we gotta do, some shady stuff. Needless to say, this was the fight I was looking forward to because I was hoping it would get me into boxing. And it did not. If anything, I didn't appreciate it one bit because the entire time I felt like this is all you were hearing.
Stop!
Like every like 2 seconds they were being broken apart, and I don't know. I just don't like the break in action like that. I think that's why I like MMA, real fighting. I mean, always breaking up, kind of. I don't know. It wasn't that fun to watch for me, at least.
You didn't find the first 3 rounds entertaining, being a McGregor fan?
No, because it was just like. Granted,
there wasn't much holding in the first 3 rounds, though.
Yeah, but there was some shady stuff being done by Conor. I think there was a couple hammer fists in there. I know that's not exactly.
Well, there was. I would say there's 2 things both of them got lucky on. One, you can't hammer fist, and he did it a lot, and he never got deducted, which is good on the ref. That would have been a shame if he got deducted for that. And on vice versa, in boxing, you aren't allowed to turn your back. So I don't know why Mayweather kept doing that. That's illegal too.
All right. I was going to say.
He kept saying McGregor was stepping around him. He's stepping around me. He's forcing me to do that. But there was some instances where he wasn't. You're just doing that to get the ref to break up the action. So he could have been deducted just as easily. Also, Mayweather likes to come through. I don't know if you saw it with his right hand and continue. And he purposefully shoves his elbow in your face. Everyone that's ever fought him has begged the ref before the fight, because they obviously watch a lot more footage of him than probably McGregor did, and said that's illegal. Please stop it. They never do. So I knew that was going to be an issue coming into the fight. McGregor actually was pretty composed about it, because it happened to him several times, and he didn't retaliate. Because think of if McGregor decided, okay, you want to elbow me? Watch this. Someone who actually is trained with his elbows, he could have made it a lot more damaging. Yeah. But he just took it. He didn't say anything. So there was a lot of fouls going on that was being allowed. The ref had a poor night, kind of all in all.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it was right at the end of the fight, he yelled at Conor for hitting below the belt, and even the commentators were like, that was totally legal. What is he talking about? Like, so. In
round 9, it looked like he had hit Mayweather with a body shot that really bothered Mayweather. He buckled. He hunched over. Mm-hmm. And he went to the ropes. And Mayweather did a veteran move where he held his balls to pretend it was a low shot. The ref doesn't have to go by what the fighter does. If Mayweather could pretend he got hit in the balls all he want, and normally a ref that's well trained would just let the action go if he thought it was legal. But he didn't. He broke it up. Probably, I watched it again last night. I watched the replay. I counted about 8 seconds. 8 seconds is a long time for Floyd for recovery time. And then if you saw all of a sudden after that happened, Mayweather looked perfectly fine, and he came on in round 9 and started to whoop on McGregor. Yeah. And then that carried over into round 10.
Round 10, I must say, right before they stopped the fight, that's where I got the stop it clip. Like, he broke them apart, but they didn't really ever separate, and Mayweather just continued to pummel him as soon as the ref stopped out. Yeah. So, I don't know. There was a little shadiness in that. I mean,
I don't.
Maybe
a lot of people I don't know how you feel. I know you don't watch a lot of boxing, but a lot of people are complaining about the stoppage. I know McGregor, and in MMA, you kind of fight to the death. But in boxing, I was explaining to Steffan when we were watching it, if you don't punch back while you're getting hit for 30 seconds. Again, I rewatched the fight. It actually was a minute long of McGregor not throwing a punch back. The ref is trained he has to stop the fight. He can't let you just get pummeled with shots and not fight back. No matter if you're the toughest dude in the world, it doesn't matter. I don't know if McGregor knew that or not. It's not like he's boxed a lot professionally, 0 times. So. Yeah. Like McGregor said after the fight, there's a lot of experience factors that played into Mayweather's favor that happened throughout the fight.
Yeah, I think my opinion on the stoppage is there's 2 sides of me. The first half, with this being the biggest fight possible, and me being used to fighters fighting to the death, I would have liked to see Conor hit the canvas. Me as the McGregor fan, though, I was glad it stopped. I was like, I don't want him being hurt to the point where he's not going to return back to MMA.
Right. He was starting to get busted up, too. I wasn't sure how he would look after the fight, but, I mean, his face is pretty bruised and damaged. He didn't really need to take much more.
I mean, the New York Times said he was bloodied. No.
No.
I disagree.
I didn't see the blood, but
there was no
his face
blood.
was bruised, for sure.
Yeah.
But Mayweather, I saw, has a little one under his eye, too. He took in the first few rounds, he took some shots.
That one counter from Conor, the counter hook, that was worth $100, I think, for most pay-per-view buyers because no one likes Mayweather. So
Well, that's what I was telling Steffan too. I go, a lot of thing that's underrated about Mayweather is his chin. He came in on one shot and Conor threw like an uppercut counter and caught him so clean, and Mayweather didn't even see it. That's what most people get knocked out by in MMA.
Yeah, he did,
and he took it. And I was like, wow, if he's gonna take his power early when McGregor's at his strongest, McGregor's gonna have a long night.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a random shot, and that was gonna be the shot, and the fact that he didn't even look like he was like dazed at all. I must say he's got a titanium chin on him.
He's got a very good chin. He's underrated. Everyone thinks because he runs around and just pity pats and wins his fights that he's a puss, but he's really not at all. He just likes to fight without getting hit.
I mean, who wants to get hit?
That's the name of the game, isn't it? Get hit and don't get hit.
If I can make $300 million without getting hit, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Steffan,
I thought both were gracious afterwards too. I don't know if you caught that.
Conor's always the biggest shit talker, but no matter what, he's always gracious afterwards. I know with Nate, when he lost to Nate the first fight, he was just like, it wasn't my fight, I'm just gonna have to come back and beat him at 170 next time, and sure enough, he did. Arguably, I should say, and he's never one to. He's not like Ronda Rousey, who's gonna sit there and cry and hide and never be seen from after second loss in her career. I mean,
yeah,
there are fighters that I feel can't do that. I accept Cormier and his way that he did it because, I mean, you got concussed. You should definitely take a couple weeks off before you come back. But he eventually came out and said something, and I may not have become a boxing fan, but I'll still watch the big fights via my sources, just because that way Corey has someone else to talk to about, because Steffan's been pretty quiet around this. Steffan, McGregor's your favorite fighter. How you feeling after this weekend?
Wait.
I never said he was.
I was going to say,
fighter.
I'm pretty sure another topic coming later is Steffan's favorite fighter.
Well, one of his favorite fighters.
Yeah, one of. Yeah, how'd you feel?
After you take a sip of that refreshing water?
I mean, I felt like McGregor did what you kept saying he was going to do and came out and tried to win the fight early, because that was pretty much his best chance. I guess you don't really realize how much endurance it takes, how much difference it is between like boxing and the five rounds max for MMA. So going 5 more rounds,
25 minutes in MMA to 36 in boxing.
Yeah.
I also think it had something to do with the way he starts in all of his fights. He tries to go out and knock the guy in the first like 10 seconds, and
right.
Mayweather said it afterwards that was the game plan. Let him get exhausted and then go after him. So
yeah, I thought there was 2 parts to Mayweather's game plan that actually ended up kind of probably he was happy. He didn't have to go to plan B or plan C because plan A happened for him. But he said he wanted to try to have Conor shoot his load first off in the first few rounds, and secondly, try to get a taste of his power to see if it was real or not, to see if he could like try to knock him out later. And both those things happened. He shot his load early. He hit Mayweather with some really solid shots. Mayweather wasn't bothered. And then, like Mayweather said, round 4 on, his dad told him, walk him down and beat his ass and see if you can do it. And it worked. And Conor admitted in his post-fight interview that he totally was thrown off by that game plan too. He did not expect Mayweather, being smaller, to just start coming forward and shell up on him like that. And that he said, he admitted that threw him off. He said props to him. That's obviously experience and being able to switch up things on the fly. Conor wasn't able to do so. So
yeah, like the whole thing with the ref calling it early. I mean, honestly, how many more of those hits was McGregor going to take before he went down?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
he was also. There's so many ways you can look at it. I briefly looked at it, and he could have probably taken a couple, dozen more. He probably could have made it out of that round, but I don't see him doing.
He
much
barely
better.
made it out of round 9.
That's what I mean. He was still functioning quite well. I mean, when the
I don't know if I'd give
doctors
him quite
came
well. I'll give him well. He was functioning well.
after they stopped, he was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, he was just standing around like.
that's that's what I always say is a sign that the ref didn't stop it too early, is when the fighter doesn't really complain. McGregor didn't complain at all. He like kind of knew he was in trouble.
Yeah, I think he knew where he was. He proved his point. He showed up and showed the boxing world that he could fight too. I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad performance on his part. Many people didn't think he was going to land a punch, Corey, and and he landed a dozen. I mean,
I think
he landed more than Pacquiao.
Yeah, I think his length and him being the biggest person Mayweather has ever fought definitely troubled Mayweather early on. It was like, I know Mayweather was just trying to find the range, but I expected after like one round, Mayweather would get the range down and get Conor's speed down. But it obviously took him 3 to get comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'll give this fight is I watched the Pacquiao fight, and I was definitely more intrigued and excited about this one watching it. I don't know, the Pacquiao fight just. It might have been a lot to do with McGregor having nothing to lose, really, where Pacquiao was still had a reputation he was trying to uphold in boxing, where McGregor, obviously, win or lose, he's not really losing.
The Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, I always say, isn't for everyone. You'd have to be like a boxing purist to really respect what they were doing in there. There was a lot of posturing, a lot of feinting, a lot of trying to set a trap. So it was boring stuff, but there actually was a lot going on. It was just a lot of thinking and mental stuff. Obviously, that's not pleasing to the eye. And McGregor and Mayweather weren't going to do that because McGregor's not going to try to outthink Mayweather. He was just going to try to beat his ass. And that made it more entertaining because it seemed like Mayweather was thinking in the first 3 rounds and then decided, I'm going to try to beat his ass as well. And it got a lot more entertaining. Mayweather can punch, too, for people who don't think he can. I think even though McGregor said his power wasn't crazy, he had to respect it. He was retreating.
Yeah.
According to Mayweather, after the fight, his hands felt great, too. So
I know. He did say that after saying he had to stop sparring the last week or 2 because of a hand injury, but he said they felt good going in.
Well, I can tell you one thing I don't feel good about. Some breaking news happened last week, and I texted you guys as soon as I saw the bottom line, and not gonna lie, I got a little sad hearing John Jones failed his A test from UFC 214, and Steffan's favorite fighter, right?
There you go.
Former at least.
Yeah, former favorite fighter. Yeah, I think I told Corey that if this holds up, I'm pretty much done with him.
People are already pretty much done with him.
I don't know if you guys heard, but I didn't click on it or read the article. John Jones has finally came out with a statement.
It wasn't really much.
It's not
okay.
much. Yeah.
I didn't read it. I don't know what he said. If he admitted to it.
No, he didn't admit to it.
Times like these remind me how blessed I truly am. So much to be grateful for, is what he said. That quote made me look the internet to see if he had passed his B test, but nothing came about that. So the way USADA works is they take a test, they test it, They take 2 samples, I should say, an A and a B, in case that one sample gets tainted. There's an outside hope, but I mean, everyone has their day in court. It's not looking good. The substance he tested positive for was
turnaball or something.
Yeah, which is a quick dissolving metabolic steroid, I believe, used back in the 1970s for Olympic athletes to take right before fights, and disappears from the sample before it can be tested. It's very hard to detect when taken at the right time, as long as it's not tainted, and this substance is often tainted, so it's not exactly like cocaine for John Jones. I mean, so does it everyone's jumping off the Jones bandwagon now. I'm kind of torn, because my whole theory on steroids is it takes more than, as Hank Aaron put it, it takes more than steroids to hit the ball over the fence. There's got to be some kind of skill. But
I agree with that in baseball, but I'm not so sure in combat sports I agree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because I feel like to hit a baseball going 100 miles per hour, there still takes a certain amount of reflexes, a certain amount of hand-eye coordination that steroids does nothing for you. What steroids does is, if you were going to hit the ball 395 feet and it's a 406 foot, the middle of the field is 406 feet. Now all of a sudden the ball might go over that. You might get an extra 10 feet out of it. So I feel like it does taint. Like, Barry Bonds was my favorite baseball player. I can't say that anymore. Apparently he cheated half his career. That's super disappointing to me. And I totally take away all those home runs. Do I take away all the stolen bases and everything else? Not really. But the home runs, for sure, the power. Unless steroids makes you faster. I mean, it could.
It usually does.
Well, as he got older and bigger, he wasn't really stealing bases anymore either. He was just running around them as he hit homers. But for fighting, I feel like, again, it makes you stronger and faster, as you point out. So, like a power punch, something that may not knock out somebody, all of a sudden's knocking someone out. That's a huge, I don't know. You're putting people's lives at risk at that point. It's very, very dangerous what you're doing.
So, in my opinion, I think with all the supplements and everything, the only thing drug tests should be used for is so the other guy knows what the other guy's on. At this point, if you're willing to take steroids to win, then you probably deserve it. If you want a clean league, have a clean league. But I think there should be a steroid league, because who really wants to watch a non-steroid league?
Me.
You do?
You're talking about for baseball?
Any sport.
Any sport?
Any sport. I have no objections to someone using steroids, as long as the other person, in fighting at least, has that awareness of what he's on. I think that's the only thing drug tests should be used for.
I guess I'm just from the old school. I feel like it's a shortcut to getting to where you want to be instead of putting in the hard work. I'd rather them just put in the hard work.
See, I think there's still skill involved in hard work, because it's not like you can take steroids and get jacked. I mean,
you get jacked quicker than you would with putting in the hard work. That's my point.
See, the way I look at it is like,
but it's more entertaining.
If one of us was to sit here and take steroids and get all jacked up, would we be able to go in and fight a Conor McGregor or go to Major League Baseball and start jacking up home runs? No. So there's obviously skill. Your skill also has to come into play.
Well, yeah, but it's not apples to apples.
Sure it is.
You and I, let's say, are on the same fighting playfield. If you take steroids, sure, you're going to knock me out. If Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are playing, they both are on steroids, as he pointed out. Yeah, the playing field becomes even. If Roger Clemens isn't and Barry Bonds is, chances are Barry Bonds is going to start cracking homers off of Roger Clemens. So the playing field's uneven when they're both. I'm saying they're both great. So, like, once one takes steroids, they become greater. If we're both average, once you take steroids, you become greater. You aren't going to be average, take steroids, and become John Jones. I agree with that. You aren't going to be able to beat John Jones if you take steroids.
That's like his argument on the skill. Like, it takes a certain skill level to still do these things. I mean, yeah, you're giving yourself that little
You're
bit.
getting the edge on the other
little
person.
Edge,
right?
But you still have to have those skills to even be able to capitalize on that little bit of an edge. In my opinion. I don't know. I'm about to start doing steroids, so fuck all you guys. I'm gonna dominate this podcast by taking steroids.
I'm gonna go natural. He's gonna take steroids, and then we'll do the combine next year and see what happens.
First place is the distance is gonna grow even more. Is that how that's gonna work?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think from an entertainment perspective, though, people want to see the steroid use because, I mean, look at Major League Baseball. Ever since the home run era, ratings are down. It's not exactly exciting to watch.
Baseball's boring if they're not hitting home runs.
As far as we know, though, Judge and Stanton aren't on steroids, and they're putting on a show this year.
Yeah, but they're not going to be
might
hitting
hit 60.
They're not going to hit 80.
No.
And
no one ever has.
Who's, technically speaking, I mean, I don't know. I just wish there would be like a steroid league for entertainment purposes, just so like.
I think in combat sports, you're playing with people's lives. That's a little more dangerous than baseball. You're just cracking a ball. You aren't hurting anybody.
But if
you could get hit with a line drive. It takes out your life.
120 mile an hour line drive back to the pitcher. I mean,
all right. Well, you aren't taking shots to the face. Like
people take shots, not consistently, but they take shots to the face.
You know what I'm saying.
But with combat sports, I say, give them the drug test so the other person knows at least this is what I'm coming into. And if they want to take it, they can take it. If not, whatever. But you have like fighters like Uberim. He was obviously roided up, but ever since USADA, his has gone way down. So, I mean...
Same with Lesnar. I mean, he was allowed to take steroids in wrestling for how long? And then they let him in to UFC. So, I mean, he had the unfair advantage coming in. But as you pointed out, skill, someone perfectly clean and Cain Velasquez took him out. So, I mean, there's something to be said about skill.
Yeah. And I think if you want to be the old-fashioned way, as Corey likes to say, I think you should be allowed to have your own old-fashioned league and get no money. I mean, because who's going to watch it other than Corey, apparently?
Everyone watched McGregor Mayweather. As far as we know, they're both clean.
Yeah, but was there drug testing? I mean,
I'm sure.
Not to mention, how often has Mayweather been accused of paying off the Las Vegas commission there?
The one time against Pacquiao, because apparently there was a excess IVs, whatever they put into your system, and normally that's to flush your system out.
Wasn't there also like Gatorade when you're not supposed to have Gatorade? You're supposed to have water or something?
That story ended up getting dropped, though, so I don't know how much weight it carried. It's not like the Pacquiao story that they still continue to go after him because he all of a sudden had to go to court because he was questioned for using steroids, and now he can't get a knockout. So you tell me what happened.
Yeah. I think what's next for John Jones is obviously we wait to see what happens with the B test. If that's a fail, he's done for 4 years. So he'll be 34 when he can be eligible to fight again. I don't see the UFC risking it. I see him going to Bellator if they're still around and not under the UFC.
If he apologizes and admits to it, does he get a lesser sentence?
He's already a second-time offender, so that is an automatic 4-year, I guess. There's no way around it.
My other question is, how come you don't hear about steroids in the NBA if steroids are so beneficial? How come no one except Rashard Lewis that I can remember has tested positive? And that dude was skinny as shit.
I don't know.
Because I feel like I feel like it's only to build muscle. There's no advantage to being strong in the NBA.
What do you mean there's no advantage to being strong?
Because it's all about like being like
If
smooth.
Shaq wasn't strong, you think he would have been as dominant?
Back then, it wasn't advantageous. Not now.
No. You think if LeBron wasn't strong?
How good is Dwight? How effective
you think
is
LeBron
Dwight?
would be just as good, just being a skinny toothpick?
I mean,
He's not that great of a shooter, so he's not going to be Steph Curry shooting.
His natural strength is just enough. What does he need to get stronger for? Like, what would be the advantage?
To blow by people more
Wouldn't
than he does now.
Wouldn't it slow him down carrying more muscle mass?
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so.
Isn't that the law of physics? Isn't it harder to move weight?
I'd be kind of scared if a NASCAR driver was taking steroids. That'd be kind of interesting.
I feel like the only time it's acceptable and it's not even steroids is HGH for trying to recover faster from an injury. I understand that. I understand trying to do that because he wants to be sidelined for years.
What is it? TRT, testosterone replacement therapy for the older guys, I feel should be allowed depending on where their levels are at. Because I believe it's age 30 is when that starts to decrease. So
there was one boxer that got caught doing that. Lamont Peterson, he put testosterone pills in his armpits and they dissolve.
Nice.
And he happened to have the fight of his life that night and upset the odds and became victorious. So obviously taking testosterone is a benefit too, and I would have never guessed.
He did that like right before the fight?
Yeah, he did it right before the fight. He got caught in the after fight sample. They go, that's funny. All of a sudden your testosterone levels are sky high. That fight was never even called a no contest because the fighter he fought was Amir Khan, and he tried to bring it to the court to say that shouldn't be on my record. So I'm leading with that to say, should Daniel Cormier's loss be taken off his record?
Which one? Because if
what
he
he
did
just
it this
had.
time, I mean, yeah, but does that make Cormier feel better?
Probably.
It doesn't. I mean, he still lost to him. I feel like Cormier is the type of guy that no matter what feels he's untouchable and that he should beat him. And he was winning that fight. And if he didn't take that leg kick, I mean, who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. The other thing I have a problem with the drug test with is the CBD oil and anything to deal with marijuana. Like, can we get out of the 1960s? Can we, like, hey, it's beneficial for healing. Let's let them have it. If they want to take it right before the fight, that's them. Because I don't know about you, but my reactions are pretty deadened whenever I may or may not take some substances. I mean, like
Kevin, this is a drug-free podcast, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't.
I agree with you. I don't think they should be allowed to take Adderall, cocaine, weed, whatever they want. Go ahead.
I mean, if they feel like that's what they need to get by. What are you trying to say, Corey? You think I'm doing cocaine and Adderall over here?
I'm just saying those are things that I don't think there's any advantage other than Adderall supposedly makes you focus. But how's that going to help you? If someone else is taking steroids and all you're doing is popping Adderall, you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Well,
you're just going to really be focused on the punch when it hits you between the eyes.
Well. Well. Steffan, what do you feel about Adderall?
I wish I had some more of it, a lot of it, some more of it, any of it for school, because I don't focus for shit. But as far as sports, I don't know. Sure, let them do it. I'd like to take some Adderall and play basketball, see what happens.
Again, I thought the only risk between at least cocaine and Adderall is the increased heart rate, and then you're obviously putting your body under extreme circumstances.
all this stuff,
you could have a heart attack.
Right. All these regulations are pretty much in place to make sure you don't die. And
that's my problem with steroids in combat sports or football or hockey.
Right.
Anything violent.
Basketball.
Anything violent.
Basketball, it doesn't matter. I don't care.
Dude, what if
none of them take it because it's not beneficial?
What if
to that sport.
Another Ron Artest jumping into the stands on steroids. What if something like that happens? Somebody's
I
dying.
don't know.
Somebody's dying
To
that night.
Kevin's point, that would be entertaining.
Yes, it would.
Just an all-out melee.
A roided out Ron Artest, sign me up.
Steven Jackson.
Just come out all bulked up. Can't even wipe his
He
own
already
ass.
has his back was like this wide anyways.
So see, that's where it would benefit you
Mm-hmm.
in the NBA when you got to fight fans, and fans are ruthless nowadays.
I know. I don't know. Well,
The guy with the 2 middle fingers in Russ's face.
I can't believe like 5'9" white boys have all these balls when it comes to watching these huge black dudes play on the court. Because they think they're untouchable until they aren't.
Yeah.
Then they're scared.
Well, it's because they also know they can sue them.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what they're hoping for.
Well, Marcus Smart didn't get sued. When he was in college, he decided to just run out there and choke that dude out.
No. He didn't have money then.
The guy,
No, that's
Yeah.
if they do it in college, I say
Yeah.
go for it.
all right. I think we've covered drug testing and drugs enough today.
We spent enough time on that.
I mean, unless you guys got anything else they may or may not be able to take. Hey, alcohol. Let them drink a 12-pack before the game. See what happens. See if they can run straight.
Wasn't it Jalen Rose who claims they do drink before games?
Oh, I don't know.
He admitted in his book that they did, and he called out a lot of ex-teammates, and a lot of ex-teammates were very upset that he threw them under the bus.
That's why they
So-
lost.
Drinking happens. That's not... Because he said a lot of them were drinking because they claim they needed to take the edge off. Like, a lot of people have anxiety, obviously, so they drink before games.
I feel like if I was going to play in hundreds of thousands, like not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of people, I'd probably need to take the edge off.
I'm sure if they were allowed to smoke weed in the
Again, I don't
locker
think
rooms,
alcohol
it'd
is
be that way,
helping you
too.
on
No, it's definitely. I've
So-
tried playing drunk and it does not help.
So I just feel like, go ahead. It doesn't matter.
It does not help at all. It's bad.
How bad?
I can't imagine weed being any better. So I would be just paranoid as fuck and like I'd be like hiding in the corner of the court, just like, why is everybody looking at me?
Is LeBron coming at me right now? He just,
Why is everyone staring at me? Because you have the ball. Oh.
You haven't moved in 5 minutes.
I thought I was on the bench. Well, we'll see what happens with John Jones. If he comes back to the UFC, I'll be surprised. Probably Bellator, because Bellator is like that. They don't care. They just want.
peace out, John Jones.
been-
I was just told this isn't cool anymore, though.
Yeah, that's right. Peace sign's not cool anymore.
Why not?
Not just doing this isn't cool anymore.
Why?
I don't know.
It's not cool.
It's what the
Deuces.
22-year-olds say.
That's
Whatever.
what the hip kids I go to school with say.
Hip, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the hip kids say anything about your fantasy skills, Steffan?
Yeah, said I'm amazing.
Yeah, so amazing you lost 7-2 to me last week.
Listen, I was down 10-0, so I consider that a win in my books. I saw myself at 10-0. I was like, I'm done. Shot. Somehow I won 2 categories. I don't know how.
How many more games do we have?
A lot.
Nope. We have two.
Going to
We have this week and next week.
Oh yeah.
And then we go into
I
the
don't know why I was
playoffs
thinking
finally.
Season was longer.
It's the
Maybe
long-
I just didn't realize that October was like not that far away.
Hopefully next year we'll have more participants.
Probably not.
Oh, I think we
I
can
don't-
get at
It'll
least.
probably just be you.
Yeah, you're losing me for sure.
Why?
This
You're
is
in the
just awful.
playoffs.
This is awful.
And I don't understand why Corey wants to leave. He's in first place.
Because I don't feel like anyone else is paying attention.
I am.
Okay, there's 2 people.
90% of the time. I think if there's more people in the league, we'll have more competition. I'll pay more attention. That's the thing. It's just like, oh, I'm playing Steffan this week. I don't have to worry about setting my lineup. The only time I ever pay attention is when I'm playing Corey, which is next week. I've been gearing my lineup up for next week. Like,
I mean, do you have all these people like waiting in line to join our league? Like, I don't know where you think all these extra teams are coming from next year.
well, our fantasy expert joined our league and then left when he saw there was only 4 other people in the league.
Yeah.
And then I can at least get 1 more, so there's 6. So
you think he joins because there's 6 of us? I don't think he joins.
We
with
need
6
2
teams.
more. We need 2 more. He said he doesn't play in anything under 8, I believe. We can ask him in a little bit.
Okay, moving on to the fantasy NASCAR stats or baseball. Do you want to go over the baseball first?
Do you have anything else to add other than the fact that you won 8-1 and I won 7-2?
No, I'll see you next week.
Okay.
I'm going to put it out there that I beat Corey this week. Watch.
Currently at a 0-0 draw.
I'll bet a beer.
That's fine. I'm up 12 from the weekend.
Yeah. What's another one?
Give me one of them back.
All right.
That's all right. I gave Corey like 2 beers this weekend, so I only owe him like
you owe me like 10 or like 4.
10. And I can win 1 back this week, so now I'm down to 3.
We'll see.
I feel confident about winning this beer back too.
Okay.
Pretty confident. NASCAR's back in Darlington.
Can't wait.
Can my
You
streak...
actually like fantasy NASCAR, though.
I do, because I'm doing all right in it.
He was in second, almost
I was very
first.
close to pulling the lead.
And it's easy. You don't have to pay much attention.
I pay little to no. I don't pay any attention. I like the things where it's just a 1 time a week thing. Like with football, it's just...
Well, fantasy football is starting to get up there, too.
Nah, fantasy football, you got to pay attention Thursday, Sunday, Monday.
You could set your team just the once for the week, and then once your players get locked, I mean, Thursday, obviously you could still change your roster, but Sunday you're pretty much done. You can't really do much Monday. Where baseball, you have to I feel like you have to switch. Don't you have to change your team around every single day?
You could do it daily if you were really trying.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I don't try that hard.
We're not a gym class hero.
No. Well, actually, I am a gym class hero. Not a fantasy baseball hero. You should see me in gym class. I would leave gym class just covered in sweat.
I don't doubt it.
Then I have to spend the rest of the day just sweaty as shit. It was awful.
I was too cool for gym.
Probably. But anyways, so NASCAR.
I was a gymmer. I ran straight into a wall once in a kickball game. Wanted to get that out.
So you're just prone to
it was
falling, running into things.
Hey, I didn't get hurt. Well, actually, yeah, my hip bothered me for the next 5 months. But the person got out, and that's all that matters. So Corey, tell us about Darlington.
Speed race. Pick the young guns. Someone who wants to go fast. Pedal to the metal.
I won last.
Anyone that falls under that brand.
I won last, so I get to pick first. I'm picking Bane since I'm running out of people to pick.
I'm picking Ryan Blaney.
I'll go Earnhardt Jr. Fuck it. I don't care.
Didn't you already pick him?
No, he didn't.
Oh, wow.
He has to win one of these 2 races to get in.
All right, we're going to skip a couple things in our lineup. We're going to pull up our football, NASCAR football, NCAA football expert. Get him on the line here. Let's hopefully he's not as adventurous as last time. There's college football this weekend. A lot is on the line.
This is one thing I'll never pay attention to.
How dare you? College football is amazing.
I'm not a diehard football person.
Oh, apparently we can't get a hold of him.
Hello.
All right, we have Joe on the line. Always fun, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are
How's
things?
it going? Wonderful.
It's going. Perfect. We stopped babbling, I see. And that still says take down the Gonzaga thing. Come on.
Not doing it.
All right, before we get into this week's games, Joe, we finally have our top 25 poll calculated, and everything is set to debut. The first ever We Might Know Sports top 25. Alabama is number one. Surprise, surprise. I don't think anyone didn't really surprise. Other than
Corey might be a little surprised.
Corey had to be the oddball. Everything else is pretty up and down. You threw Western Michigan in at 22. That was kind of interesting, Joe. Why?
I just threw something in there. After 20, it was everything up in the air. After had a decent season last year, going undefeated, and we'll see what happens. I still think they can be a top 25 team considering the type of schedule playing in the conference they play in, and we'll see how Coach Lester does with that program.
They lost their stud receiver, though.
Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good.
Is that Corey Davis?
Yeah.
They play the Buffaloes and the likes of those people. They'll be all right.
All right, a lot of big games this weekend. They have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday locked down, so we'll have you back on to talk about the Monday game. But for now, I sent you a list of 3 games I figured were pretty good ones to keep an eye on this weekend. Corey. And let's start off talking about Florida State versus Alabama. We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good game.
That's a good game. How's that not a good game? How dare you?
Yeah, I don't know how that's not.
Florida State, Alabama, ABC, Saturday, 8 p.m. Alabama 6.5 favorites. How you feeling about this one, Joe?
I would take Florida State with the points. I think it's going to be a close game. It'll be interesting to see Alabama's offense giving, the brand new offense coordinator. I know they want to get Jalen Hurts to sit in the pocket a little more, pass the ball. Same with Florida State. They want Francois to sit there and make plays with his arm, not his legs. Alabama does not have traditionally the home run power, big ball scoring machine. They, usually grind it out. So we'll see, for Alabama's offense under a new offensive coordinator versus that Florida State defense is an intriguing matchup. I would say I'll give a little bit of edge to Alabama on that offensive side of the ball, given that, Florida State defense, Jimbo Fisher, not knowing how to game plan against an offense that he's never seen before. But I still think it's going to be close. Maybe, 31-28 Alabama in the end. But I would take Florida State with the points. If Florida State can maintain the ball, get some ball control, maybe, take control of the game that way, they have a shot to win. But I think Alabama's defense, they can go 2 or 3 deep in most positions. I don't think they're going to get tired out. But it's going to be a great ball game, great way to end the opening Saturday of college football with a marquee game, almost a national championship type game, if you will.
Does this hurt either team's chances, or is it early enough in the season that it's not going to affect their championship aspects to recover from? I mean, it's not like they're losing to Western Michigan. I mean,
very true. I don't think it hurts either one as much. If it were to hurt one team more than the other, I would have to say it would hurt maybe Florida State slightly. But then again, I mean, they will, they're losing to the number 1 team. So it could hurt Alabama too, depending on how Florida State finishes. Florida State loses to Bama, then to Clemson, then to Louisville. Has 3 or 4 losses, then that doesn't look as good for Bama either. But I don't think if Florida State, obviously, if they lose this game, has to run the table. if Alabama loses this game, either team would have to run the table if they lose this game. I don't think either team would get in with 2 losses.
Even if they lose in their conference championship?
Yeah, especially if they lose in their conference championship. That's like, who would Alabama be playing? Florida or Tennessee or one of those teams? That would be a bad loss. And then same thing from Florida State. They'd be losing to what? Maybe Georgia Tech or North Carolina. No, they would have to win their conference championship game.
So you're taking Alabama, though?
Yeah, Alabama straight up, Florida State with the points.
I don't think any of us are going against Alabama. I mean, Corey, you're the only one that didn't vote him number 1.
No, I'm sticking with Bama.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
Earlier that same day at 3:30 Eastern, also on ABC, Michigan versus Florida. That's going to be an exciting one. Harbaugh in, his second year at Michigan now? Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Florida kind of been hit or miss in the past couple seasons. What do you got for me on this game, Joe?
I think it's a rebuilding year for Michigan. Don't ever count out the coach's ability, but they're very young, very talented, but very young. I think Florida is going to pull this game off by a field goal. If Michigan can stay turnover-free and play solid defense, they'll have a shot to win the game. But I just think, youth of the team will kick in and show its true colors, and Michigan will win this football, and Florida will win this football game. And that's really hard for me to say.
Corey, Steffan, who are you guys taking?
I'm taking Michigan. I believe in the Harbaugh coach team. Even though they're young, I think he'll pull them together early.
I'm going to go Florida.
I will also go Michigan, Corey, so you got some support. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
And then on Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern on ABC, West Virginia versus Virginia Tech. Go ahead, Joe. Or don't.
I think it's going to be another close game. I'll say West Virginia by 6.
I mean, you've got a West Virginia team that often doesn't play a lot of tougher opponents. I mean, their one tough team is usually Oklahoma, so this is kind of nice to see that they have someone ranked. I mean,
it's really. I'm glad that they're just getting this game back on the schedule. After a few years, they're not. The teams aren't that far apart geographically. It's a nice little geographic rivalry, and good football. I do agree. It's good to see West Virginia play somebody a little bit tougher out of conference than their typical foes. So yeah, great over the weekend matchup for West Virginia. I think talent-wise, I think they're going to pull it off a little bit. I think this game, Virginia Tech has the talent, but West Virginia with the Mountaineers.
Although Virginia Tech lost to Syracuse, I will pull for Virginia Tech to represent the ACC since Syracuse doesn't play West Virginia anymore. Corey, Steffan?
V-Tech all the way.
I'm going to say any team that can lose to Syracuse is going to probably lose most games. I'm going to go to West Virginia.
I think we know a Mountaineer that is singing Rocky Mountain High for you right now, Steffan.
We have a Hokie on later.
Oh, God. All right, Joe, do you have anything else for us to watch for this weekend?
No, but I'm intrigued to hear your guys' thoughts on the comment that came out by a Yahoo sports writer that said that Syracuse was going to pull a big-time upset this year in the Dome. And looking at their schedule, the only big-time upset in the Dome would be that Friday night game against Clemson. Thoughts?
I'll let Corey and Steffan so I can think about it for a second here.
So this is you're asking if we think they're gonna upset Clemson?
No, well, no, I'm not asking that. It's on the thoughts of, I think it was Pat Ford Pat Ford was the one who tweeted about it, saying, made a generalized statement that SU would pull a big-time upset in the Dome this year. And looking at the schedule, only big-time upset would be Clemson. So he's going on a limb to say SU's going to beat Clemson. I don't know what your thoughts are on that comment. For me, I thought it was pretty bold.
There's a lot of hype around, like some other people have been saying that Syracuse this year should be much improved.
And Clemson won't be as good as last year, people think.
It's still Clemson, and I don't see it happening. But
a not seasoned quarterback coming to the Dome Friday night. Hopefully, we're coming in 5-2, whatever the record could be at that time. You know, a little bit better than 500. Get about 45,000 people in there, loud, going crazy Friday night. Could be a little overwhelming for a first-year quarterback.
I see it. I think we're going to tame the tiger.
I think it's going to depend a lot on taming the tiger, and that's gonna
Hashtag trending.
I think it's going to depend a lot on how well Syracuse does early, because you know as much as I do that if they struggle early, not a lot of people are going to show up for that game because they know it's going to be a blowout. So if they have the crowd there and it gets crazy, I could see them possibly pulling off the upset.
Yeah, but can we just say that Syracuse has the tendency to not show up to teams that they should beat and then play very well against teams that they should have no chance against? They do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they do that with football and basketball. So, yeah, it's just a Syracuse thing.
Also depends on how they come in. If they're still healthy, that's the key thing for Syracuse. Syracuse seems to be a team that gets hurt against these bigger programs like LSU. So, I mean,
they have to stay healthy. We're not very deep in most positions. The key is going to be the health. Definitely.
Last time in the Dome, Clemson won 37-27. So, and that was with a team that made it to the championship game. So, I'll give it to Syracuse for the upset. Why not?
Of course you would.
Friday night.
Me too. Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Hashtag tame the tiger.
Snap. And seeing how the season's going to begin Friday night for the Cuse, I want to go out and talk about records for the Cuse this year. I'm thinking 5-7, 6-6.
7-6 because they're going to win a bowl game. Pinstripe, baby, all the way.
Nice. I think they 3-1 in the month of September has to happen. I think they play 5 games because I think they play NC State. I think there's 5 weekends in September.
Damn calendar.
Basically, they got to look at those. They have to win the Central Michigan, the Middle Tennessee State, the Central Connecticut State game, Boston College, Pittsburgh, and then pick up a win somewhere else.
I tell you what, if they go through those 3 games with no hiccups and they gel as a team, I look at them giving a challenge to LSU.
Woo! I think they can make it a game. I think Death Valley might be a little overwhelming for them, but it could be intriguing, that's for sure. The key, I think, is health and the health of Dungy.
A side note for everybody listening, Kevin did some edibles.
Yeah, he did admit to smoking something
before this podcast.
Whoa, I did not admit to doing anything.
He's not exactly credible tonight.
How dare you?
Was it fudge brownie, chocolate chip brownie? What edible did you do there? Chocolate chip cookie?
I am of clear mind tonight. -1 beer. I mean, Maybe
Must have been a high alcohol content beer. It was like 12%.
Just tell him it was one of those THC beers.
No,
it was a
THC
drinkable,
infused
not an
one.
edible.
until I see this team, I have faith in them. So that's all I got to say.
I don't have faith in them until they prove that they have something to be.
Since we're talking about beer, I had the most delicious beer on Friday. What night was it? Friday evening. An Open Gang blonde ale, 9-10%. It was something up there,
Something else.
and it was very light and refreshing, dangerous. So good thing it was only one, and I could have went to like 4 in about an hour.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't there to drive you this time, Joe.
Well, I'll have to look at that in stores.
Yeah,
We
just
do
went to the new store down there in Township 5. I was like, I'll give this a try. It was very, very refreshing.
It's not Belgian-y?
No,
Beer
it was, what can I compare it to?
Sometimes you just can't.
You can't. It was a
It's a
blonde ale.
one-of-a-kind, probably.
It was
One-of-a-kind taste.
It wasn't hoppy. It wasn't. It really reminded me of your lighter lager type, beers. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't hoppy. It wasn't, bitter. None of that stuff.
Well, look for it in stores if you can find an Omegang blonde something or other. Joe, do you have anything else you want to ask us?
No, not at all.
All right.
You guys
Well,
got anything for me?
do you guys have anything for Joe?
No, I guess not.
No, I've had enough of them.
Yeah, take down that Gonzaga stuff. Jeez, already.
Joe, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Sounds good, guys. Enjoy
See
the
you, Joe.
weekend's
See you,
games
Joe.
and go Cuse.
Go Cuse. Hey, I didn't hang up prematurely on him this time, so there's
You
bonuses.
never finished telling us that story.
I know. He said he was gonna mention it, but
I know.
I gave him an opportunity. He didn't take it.
Yeah,
So Corey, U.S. Open started this week.
Yep.
Actually, it started today, right?
Started today.
Which you were still right. It's this week. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell us what we should be looking for.
On the men's side, one thing that you may notice is a lot of people in the top 5 are injured. You have Andy Murray, who's going to try to compete in the U.S. Open with a hip injury. So I don't know how long he's going to last. He's also the number 1 player in the world. You have Stan Wawrinka, who will not be participating. He's ranked 5th. Nishikori, ranked 6th, will not be participating. So
It's a watered down field.
it's a watered down field, and that's got people excited because there is a possibility that you could see Nadal and Federer in the final at the U.S. Open, which they have never played each other at the U.S. Open in the final.
Federer's not that good, though.
And it would be a decent swan song to an otherwise career by Roger Federer.
Not top 5 worthy, but
Not top 5.
Not top 5.
So you have a lot of fans clamoring for that, but I would be quick to remind them that Rafa Nadal's best tournament is certainly not the U.S. Open. He hasn't had that much success here relative to the rest of the tournaments for him. Even though he is seeded number 1 overall, there's some sleepers. I think Alexander Zverev, who beat Roger Federer in Montreal, is a sleeper. I think Nick Kyrgios, who beat Nadal earlier in a smaller tournament, is a sleeper. Do I think anyone's going to upset Roger along the way? No. He's also my pick to win the tournament. And if I were him, I would retire right after because you'd go out with 20. I think 20 slams is something that I didn't think I would ever see in my lifetime from a male player. And why not go out a winner at 34 years old, winning 3 of the 4 slams?
hey, why not?
You have any comments, your boy? Monfils, I see you brought
Yeah.
up. Do you like his run?
Well, then he plays my other boy there.
Donald Young?
Yeah.
You just like the black guys?
I just like the guys with dreads. They're just both like super athletic.
Yeah, they are.
But that Charty guy's good too, isn't he?
Yes.
So that kind of worries me.
And Goffin is a good young player on the come up.
Yeah, I've seen his name pop up before.
Monfils would most likely.
So is he on?
Monfils and him will most likely run into each other there.
Is he,
if everything goes.
Is this the Federer side or the Nadal side? Federer. Huh? Where is Federer?
Federer's probably in this part. Nope. This would be the Nadal side.
Oh, so they have two. Okay.
On the women's, I know I mentioned off camera to you, Sharapova was a wild card, and she plays tonight right now at 7:00 against Simona Halep, who's the number 2 seed. You can look at it one of two ways. Maria got a tough draw, or you can say Simona Halep got a tough draw against a former champion for her first round matchup after getting a nice seeding. I don't look for either of those two to win this tournament. I think Gabriela Muguruza, who won the French Open, should be the favorite. I'm not picking her. I actually think Caroline Wozniacki will finally win something. She's played very consistently all summer, so I like her to finally get through. Do you have anyone on the women's? I know you're a Sharapova fan. Do you think she has a chance after being out?
How many tournaments has she played? She played like 2 so far this year, right?
Yeah.
Her suspension ended in, what, June?
How did she do in those?
She had mild success. She didn't win them.
No.
But she had success.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, obviously, everyone's going to be looking for Venus.
Yeah. I would say if I was to pick anybody, it'd probably be
She
Venus.
won. She won today.
Another American I'd keep my eye on is Coco Vandeweghe. She could be a sleeper.
About Madison Keys.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I don't like her. I mean, she's got a lot of power. But the courts, it's not that hot in New York, so the courts are going to be playing a little slower. That won't be in her favor. There's a big upset already. Justine Konta, she had number 7 ranking, just lost today. I just saw that now. That's a big upset early on in the women's. Top 10 are already down. So that's my U.S. Open update. I got Federer. I got Wozniacki.
What about Sharapova? Where do you think she's going to end up, though?
I don't think she gets out of the first round.
All right.
I think that's too tough.
Steffan?
Yeah. I think she gets out of the first round.
Beer bet?
Beer bet? Are we doing beer bets? I'll bet.
You going in on this?
I gotta make up. I gotta start making them up here.
You guys are going with Sharapova?
Yeah, I'll take Sharapova.
Yeah, I'll take Sharapova in the first round.
She's got that power.
She does have power. And she's obviously a better player. She has more slams.
Yeah.
She's more
Halep's
rested.
number 1.
She's rested. She's ready to go.
Halep's that player that always makes it to the semis or the quarters and loses. She's just very consistent.
All right. Quick soccer update. Steffan.
Some real football.
Steffan.
Just like MMA is real fighting.
Yeah, it is.
So is soccer. It's really football.
Liverpool won 4-0, giving Steffan another green square here. And I got my first green square of the year. Champion. No. No soccer in the Premier League this week. They are off to play World Cup qualifiers. So this Friday is the U.S.'s game against Costa Rica. It's very important. I don't see them struggling the way they've been playing. Watch for it on Friday at like 6:55 instead of the normal 7 or 7:05 time. That's all I got for you. I know you guys are amazingly deep into soccer. If you guys want to throw out a prediction, you can.
What game?
U.S. versus Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
U.S. 2-0.
Because you're not communist.
No.
Steffan, you still commie?
Is this men or women's?
Men.
Men? Okay.
How about this? I will tell you this: 9 Sounders got called up for World Cup qualifiers, and a lot of them are on the U.S. men's team.
Yeah, they're all trash. So.
Yeah, they're all straight Oscars.
Yeah, that's why Portland only drew against Sounders.
Yeah, exactly. You should have won at home. So I'm gonna go
First place,
U.S. 1-0.
What? He's picking the U.S.
Not by much.
I'll do 2-1 U.S. Rivalry week. Yeah, week.
Where do you have these things? Where are you keeping track of this stuff?
It's on the same as the NASCAR. Just at the bottom. Not the MLS or the soccer, because we never usually do it. I will start doing that. How about that?
Well, you just said that somebody got a green square. So how do you get a green square and there's nowhere that you're...
Oh, the Premier League you did.
Yeah, well, where are you keeping track of those?
All right, we'll do this
right
off.
there. I got it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So MLS happened. Portland, Seattle drew. Seattle's still in first place. Portland's in second. I don't know what's going on with LA, but who cares?
I forget about the Premier League stuff we've been doing.
Let's try and get a hold of Matt, our fantasy expert, so he can grade us, see how we did. I think we should grade him too, if he answers. I didn't give him a heads up, so
I did.
Okay.
Hello, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
How's it going, Kevin?
Not too bad. How's things with you? Working on
I'm feeling pretty good after the draft.
I don't know why.
Feeling better than Steffan, that's for sure.
No, I'm feeling pretty good.
Maybe not after this report.
Just to touch on tennis real quick, Andy Murray is out of the tournament. He pulled out.
Right.
So Marin Cilic moved into that 2-seed draw. So even more injuries on that tennis front.
Yeah, this is the real tennis expert,
So would you
by the way.
So would you agree that it's an open field for Federer to walk through?
Yes.
See?
It should be, as long as his back injury that he had a few weeks ago isn't, rearing its head again. But I think you made a good call with Sasha Zverev. He's playing really hot right now. Another one is Grigor Dimitrov. They're two guys who are playing really well right now and could make a good run through this tournament.
Kyrgios is playing pretty well too.
Yeah, I don't think he can last up for a whole Grand Slam run. He's too much of a hot head.
Not mentally.
He's getting better, but I don't know if he can make it that many matches yet.
What about your boy Gasquet? Where is he going?
He's probably going to lose to Nadal. He's in his quarter, so he'll probably lose to him in the third or fourth round, I think.
And who do you got between Halep and Sharapova?
I'll take Halep. Although,
Help.
she is, I think career-wise, she's either 0 for 3 or 0 for 6 against Sharapova. So the odds are not in her favor besides the rankings right now. I think Sharapova's only played 6 tournaments so far this year.
Like Matt's.
So the match history isn't in Halep's favor, that's for sure.
But Sharapova's had limited success.
This year, yeah. She's injured for a little bit. I think she hurt her hip for a while, so she's coming back from that.
I'll use roids real quick.
So I'll take Karolina Pliskova on the women's side. I think she made it to the finals last year, and she's a big server, has a big forehand, so I think she can kind of hit through these slower conditions all right. But we can get back to fantasy football now.
All right, good. Now I know what we're talking about. So we had our draft a couple weekends ago. We didn't have you on last week because we were too busy talking about the fight and everything. But I wanted to have you on so you could grade us. And then I think we're going to grade you is how this is going to work. But before we grade each other, what's happened in preseason? Which players have gotten injured that may hurt people's fantasy lineups?
We saw a few. Sorry, Gary, but Julian Edelman is out for the year with a torn ACL. So that was a big hit for anyone who drafted him. It's a big hit for the Patriots, but they've got so many weapons in that on that team that they should be able to be just fine. That was a pretty big one. Spencer Ware is likely out for the year with a completely torn PCL in his knee, and he did some other damage to his knee as well. That likely will be season-ending surgery. So that'll be big. Kareem Hunt, who's a third-round rookie running back from Toledo. Andy Reid has mentioned he'll be the full-time running back with Ware out, who I drafted in the 22nd round. But, that's besides the point. And those are the two big ones. Odell Beckham Jr. had a scary hit on him on his knee, but it looked bad at his knee at first, but it ended up being his cleat got a little caught in the turf, so he tweaked his ankle a little bit. So he's all right. He may miss the first week of the year. But those are kind of the big injuries that have happened thus far.
Cameron Meredith with a torn ACL as well, out for the year.
Yep, I knew I was missing one, so that's a big one. I mean, I don't think anyone was really expecting a whole lot out of the Bears passing game, but to lose the top receiver in preseason that's a big hit. So
but that gives Kevin White, who you and I had discussed, some pretty good sleeper potential.
Yeah, Kevin White could be pretty good for the Bears, and Mike Glennon, he can really air it out. If Trubisky gets a shot, I mean, he can air it out as well. But, I mean, even bad offenses can put up some big numbers.
I'll ask San Fran this year. That's my prediction.
As a former Glennon fan, I don't know about air it out, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, doesn't he have a pretty big? I thought he had a really big arm, but he
has a big arm, but he has no accuracy with that arm. So.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. But if he gets a couple to hit, that's all he needs.
All he needs. All right, so since me and you have the amazing feud or rivalry, you're second to Steffan because Steffan's an asshole, and I'll step up first. What kind of grade are you giving my team? Almost.
Well, I did some grades by position. First, I gave you a B+ for your quarterbacks. I thought you got a good combo there. Winston's got a lot of upside. Rivers is pretty stable. So that was kind of a good to balance out Winston with. I gave you running backs an A-. I think you have maybe the best running back duo in the league, but you never know with the rookies.
Clancy.
Sometimes they don't adjust that well. Fournette, obviously, body-wise should be just fine, but you still never know. Wide receivers, I gave you a B+. I mean, Des Bryant and Alshon Jeffrey, that's a pretty good 1-2 right there. And you've got Greg Olsen as a tight end in that receiving core, which is nice to have. And you've got a good couple of veterans in there on your bench that could add some good value. The weak part of your team is your defense. Gave you a C for that. It's a lot of guys who just weren't ranked too highly on my any of my boards, so they were all yours. You didn't have to fight me for any of those guys. So that was the one weak part of your team. I thought your depth was pretty decent, so I gave you a B for that. And overall, I gave yourself a B. So, I assume that B was just slightly above average. So I think you did a pretty good job overall. You had a couple really good draft picks, I thought, with Des Bryant and Alshon Jeffrey. they kind of fell to you, and you did a good job and took them. If you let them fall a little more, I was going to take them. So, and for reference, I drafted 10th and you were 11th, so we were drafting right next to each other.
Yeah, it was annoying.
I liked your Jack Liz Rogers pick really late. He's going to have some good value the first couple games. So that was a really good pick. And then the only thing I can really get on you about is drafting a kicker in not the last round. That's never a good idea. Just for reference, but I mean, he did get one of the top kickers. But
I want points, damn it! I need points.
I know he was formerly on the Seattle Seahawks and whatnot, but I mean that was a little bit of a homer pick, I think.
Wow.
You're getting advice from the guy that didn't go 12
I think he
and 1
did a
last
pretty
year.
good job.
I appreciate that. All right, let's move on to Steffan, seeing how he's got the smart mouth.
What did Steffan say?
I said you're getting advice from the guy that didn't go 12 and 1 last year on how to do his draft.
Yeah, in this league.
Alrighty, on to Steffan's team. I didn't, and on these grades, I didn't put any keeper situations. I didn't count any of that stuff. You guys all had good keepers, so I thought you guys all made good picks with that. So Steffan's quarterbacks, I gave a B. Matt Ryan's obviously top 5 quarterback. Carson Wentz is good value for where you kept him, and I think he's got a lot of upside like Jameis Winston. So I thought you guys were pretty comparable on quarterbacks. I would probably prefer to have Rivers and Winston if given the choice. The running backs is where Steffan's team goes downhill very, very quickly.
Goes downhill real quick.
Yeah, you.
Did you forget about running backs?
Maybe in the draft was Latavius Murray in the 4th round.
Kind of forgot about.
I was gonna say, did you forget about them? Like,
wait, he took Latavius Murray in the 4th round.
He took Latavius Murray in the 4th round, 44th overall.
Oh, the guy that's on his bench now?
Yeah, that one.
I gotta feel out how
that was a major reach for me. So, I mean, he's got Darren Sproles. He did get Rob Kelly late in the draft, which was a good pick. And probably my favorite pick that he had was Rex Burkhead. Very late in the draft, so good job on that one.
Corey told me all about that one.
Well, good job, Corey.
Thanks.
So overall, I gave your running backs a D.
I'll agree.
Okay.
For someone you're playing twice, why would you give them advice? That's my question. Why would you give someone that you're playing twice advice?
Steffan advice?
Yeah.
I give him advice in class on how to beat me. I like competition.
Okay.
I don't think he really gave me advice. He was just talking about him, and then I was like, oh, he's there right now.
And to be honest, I think Steffan needs all the help he can get, no matter what, right?
I mean, he did
pretty much in all
so.
aspects of life. Of accepting advice for everything.
Yeah,
doesn't mean you have to take it.
Well, you did a good job with your receivers.
I don't take a lot of it. So. All right, back to my wide receivers.
This is where it gets good.
It gets a lot better here. I give you a B+. Brandon Cooks in the 2nd might have been a little, early, but I can justify it, especially with the Julian Edelman injury. That helps you out a lot. Michael Crabtree, if he can repeat his touchdown production from last year, that'll be an all right pick. He'll at least earn back that value of a 5th rounder. But and Travis Kelce in the 3rd round, I had as kind of another reach. I think you could have gotten him a few rounds later. So I thought getting him in the 3rd was a bit aggressive. I kind of thought that about all your receivers. I thought that.
Listen, if you don't know me, there's one thing I am, and I am aggressive. Okay? At all things.
Can I ask how many beers you had, Steffan?
I don't even know.
You don't.
I don't even know.
He drafted in a room with A-plus drafters.
That was the problem. Somebody had to take the fall.
Good team player right there. I do like your fourth receiver, Willie Snead. I think he's got a lot of upside on that offense with Brandon Cooks gone. I think he could be sneaky good this year. You've got Sterling Shepard as a backup who pretty
Looks
good.
good in
I think
preseason.
he could step up a little bit in the slot. And then you drafted Nelson Aguilar and dropped him for Torrey Smith. So either way, I don't think either of those Eagles receivers is going to do a whole lot. But if Wentz kind of is on that same pattern he was at the beginning of the year last year, you never know with Torrey Smith's speed.
I mean, he's not just going to
so I give you a B plus for them.
Alshon.
B plus for
B
you.
plus.
Receivers.
Your defense is the star of your team.
Sure is.
I think you knew that because you started drafting them in the 6th round. You saw your offense and was like, it's not going to be.
I started looking at my team and I was like, I'm going nowhere but
Steffan, we need to
nowhere go on
co-manage.
offense. I need to just start stacking defense.
Maybe we should co-manage, and then we'll win a championship if we work together.
I literally looked at my team and I was like, nope, gotta go defense. I gotta get something somewhere.
That is hilarious.
This is probably a good decision.
Yeah.
So I think you have the best defensive players in our whole league. So you should win those matchups pretty much every week.
As long as
So, good job drafting them. As far as your overall depth for your team and your backups, I think I gave you a C. I think you're below average on a lot of your backups.
Living on the edge.
Yeah. Some of them are kind of riskier backups. You kind of want to try to get some more stable ones, like Kevin did. Be
more like Kevin.
Overall,
Yeah.
I give you your draft a B minus.
I got better than Steffan to him.
Yahoo gave you a B.
What'd you give him?
I gave him a B minus.
Oh, B minus. Oh, I'll take it. It's still a B.
And Kevin on Yahoo had a C plus, and I gave him a B. So.
Yeah. Well, when you look at his defense, look at my defense. Come on now. I think that boosts me up a little bit.
Defense doesn't win championships in this league, baby.
Watch it. Watch it win me a championship.
All right. What
Only
about
one way to find out.
What about Mac Daddy, as
Mac.
his
All right.
team's known as? The Bengals.
So he did the best out of the three of you. As far as Yahoo was concerned, he got an A plus.
It's debatable.
So we'll start off with
How
his
credible
quarterback.
is Yahoo when they give 5 A's?
We'll start with his quarterbacks. He kept Tom Brady as in the second round, which for a 2-quarterback league it's good value right there.
Especially when
and
he's
his
on
other-
the cover of Madden.
Go ahead.
Especially when he's on the cover of Madden.
Curse. But his other quarterback is Dak Prescott, who I thought he maybe took a little early in the 3rd round, but there was a slew of quarterbacks who went in that 3rd round, the end of the 3rd round, so it probably worked out for him all right.
Yeah, I was going to pick him up if he was around in the 3rd round.
And his backup is Alex Smith, who he's a steady, reliable backup, so not bad to have. So overall, I gave his quarterbacks an A. I thought he did pretty good. He's might be the best combo of quarterbacks in the league. So I thought he did a good job with them. Moving on to his running backs. I think his running backs are a little weak. Lamar Miller did drop to him in the draft, so that was a good pick when you got him in the 5th round. Mir Abdullah has a lot of upside, but he hasn't proven a whole lot. But he got pretty good value on him in the 9th round. But to have those two as the starters is a little scary, but he's got some good flyers on the bench, and Jonathan Stewart, who he got very late, and James White, who in the Super Bowl was outstanding. So if they run a lot of two running back sets now with Edelman out, which they did last year when Gronk was out and they had a few other injuries, that could really pay dividends for him. So overall, I gave his running backs a C+. So I think they're just slightly below average, but still okay for our league. Running backs are kind of devalued a little bit in our league with the scoring system. So I think he'll be just fine, as we'll see as we get to the rest of his team. His wide receivers are a very good bunch. He might have the best receiving core in the league. He's got Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins, Kelvin Benjamin, Steffan Diggs, Marvin Jones Jr. I think that's a really good combination of guys that a lot of them didn't have a great year last year, so he's hoping for a lot of bounce-back potential. But that should happen on a lot of those offenses. I know the Carolina Panthers wide receivers have really good matchups this year, so that could easily happen. So I gave his wide receivers an A-. As we transition to defense, he's got a very good defensive unit. He's probably got the second best defense in the league to Steffan. So I gave him an A on the defense. So he should have good matchups all year long, except when he plays Steffan. And then for overall depth for the team, I gave him a B. I think he's got some solid people on the bench who can provide a lot of upside, but are at the same time not very risky. So he did a good job with that. Overall, I would give him an A-. I thought he's got a very well-rounded team. Still got some good upside people, but some really just stable people who, will stay the course and get him the points that he needs.
No A+.
No A+. Sorry.
No A+.
He was always my toughest critic.
I must say, looking at your team's starting to look like a MASH unit right now. A lot of injuries, a lot of questionables, suspended. You got Doug Martin. Andrew Luck is probably not going to start week 1, it looks like. Possibly multiple other weeks. And you don't have a kicker. So I'm going to give you a B. Because, it's a solid team other than the fact that you don't have a kicker. It's 3 points right there.
I'll get one at some point. I'll drop one. I'll drop a player before the season to pick up a kicker if I need it. So.
If you need it.
If he needs it.
Well, if I'm getting blown out in a hurry real quick, then I will not pick one up for the week, and I will just roster that extra player for the week.
You are predicted to lose to Mac Daddy in week 1, 158-142. So.
Yep. So that's what I'll wait and see how Brady plays on Thursday night, the first game. So I'll have at least a decent indicator of how I'm doing that. So, but yeah, I know I need to pick up a kicker, and obviously the Luck injury does not do me any favors. So I will have to put Tom Savage in, most likely, after trading Jared Goff. But
you sound excited about putting Tom Savage.
I knew that risk coming into the season.
What do you give Matt, Steffan? Your thumb stuff?
His defense is no Pennsylvania Express defense, that's for sure. He's got Julio. That's going to be solid.
Matt, I think your wide receivers are the strongest part of your team.
Really?
Do you agree?
Yeah, I would tend to think so. Unless, when Luck's healthy, that's a big
right.
if. I think Cam and Luck might be the best duo in the league.
His Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, He has Allen Robinson, who has huge sleeper value. Jordan Reed is going to be steady until he gets hurt. Corey Davis has huge potential. I saw you went and grabbed John Brown, huh? Or did
Yeah,
you
I
draft
drafted
him?
him.
Okay. You drafted John Brown, who looked really good in preseason. And then Keenan Allen, who has a good bounce back potential. Yeah, I'd
Who
say
never stays healthy.
no, but still, his receivers, if they stay healthy, have huge potential. The weakest part of Matt's team are his running backs as well.
Yeah.
Ty Montgomery in our league, giving the scoring system, does hold value because receiving yards are more valuable. Frank Gore obviously is aging a little bit, but then he backs him up with Thomas Rawls and Danny Woodhead, who are coming off of injury but could be solid. And then he has Kareem Hunt, who just got the starting job. So he's got good value in Hunt.
I mean, he has
Doug Martin after 4 weeks.
I mean, but these are all question mark people. I mean,
just for the first few.
I
think
Yeah,
Matt's
the
team
hope was
starts.
that
I think
some of
Matt's
these
team's
guys
going to
would
start
sort
slow and
themselves
come
out.
on later.
I'll give it a B. I'm not sold on Cam Newton, honestly. But obviously,
I felt more comfortable taking him than
abilities
some of those
gives him-
quarterbacks that went right in front of him. So I was pleasantly surprised to have him fall into my lap, right behind Rivers, Dak, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Mariota. I thought he should have probably gone ahead of those guys. So I was happy to get him in the 4th round after all those guys.
I mean, if you base it off of points from last year, I wouldn't put Cam Newton ahead of those guys.
Well, no, but I think last year's stats don't count for this year. So,
I know it doesn't count for this year, but
he's kind of like
if he
an every
continues
other
his
year
trend from last year, it's going to count for this year.
Matt, I give us about the same grade because your defense is probably the 3rd best in the league behind me and Steffan. Gary has a good defense as well, but I'd say his is 4th. Because I'd give us A minuses because I think, honestly, Ryan and Dan have the best teams out there. So if you want to give them A pluses.
I don't know why you think Dan has one of the best teams out there.
You haven't seen Dan's team is solid.
He's got people on his defense that are projected 0 points right now.
Does he?
How's that solid?
His offense is super solid. Matt, don't you agree?
But you know that offense isn't gonna you have to have defensive players.
Yeah, I think Dan's got a lot of good players on his team. I think he's going to be tough. Our division with him, you and I, and Steffan is going to be a bloodbath in there.
I mean, his quarterbacks aren't anything. I mean,
they're solid though. They're like steady.
But they're those kind of quarterbacks that like 1 week they're solid, and then the next week they're throwing like 3 interceptions. Maybe not Andy Dalton, but Stafford's like that.
He has 2 kickers, which is iffy.
He still has Meredith on his team, who's obviously done for the year. He's got 2 kickers.
Yeah, I think
2 kickers. You don't need 2 kickers. That's like as bad as Kevin.
I guess on second look, now that I'm looking at it, Dan is not an A+.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be an A+ on my grading scale.
His defense is not good at all.
So, other fantasy football drafts are going on this weekend. Any players to pick up with all these injuries that might stand out for those people?
I think Chris Hogan goes up a little bit in value. He's going to get a little more playing time on the outside and a few more deep looks, I think. I think it probably helps Brandon Cooks and Rob Gronkowski the most, though. I think they're going to see their targets go way up. I think it helps James White a little bit. I think they're going to play a lot of more 2 running back sets. With the Spencer Ware injury, you obviously have to get Kareem Hunt. I've already seen that some people are saying he's a top 15 running back now. So going in that 15 to 18 range on the running backs, which seems about right because that's kind of where Joe Mixon and Dalvin Cook are going, 2 other rookie running backs. So seems about right. But it's probably, honestly, if I were drafting a little too rich for my blood for those two. If it's a 3rd or 4th round pick, that seems too much. But those are 2 guys. Kevin White can be a late flyer as a receiver for Chicago. I mean, he was a top 10 draft pick. Feels like it was forever ago, but I think it was only like 2 or 3 years ago. But he's just had some bad luck with some injuries. But he's got a lot of talent. He's a big receiver, and his speed is slowly starting to come back to what it was in college. So if he can put it all together, and Glennon's actually accurate with his throws, he could have a pretty good year, actually.
All right. I thank you for our grades, especially for the fact that you ranked me above Steffan.
We'll see where it ends
I figured you'd like that.
All of a
Do
sudden,
you guys have a prediction on who's going to win the league this year?
Yeah. Me. I'm due. All right. You wait.
If you win the league, Steffan, I will buy the championship belt for the league.
Ooh.
All right.
You got a lot of
it.
pressure on you now, Steffan.
I like it. I'm doing this for everybody.
Granted, if I win it, I'm probably going to buy a belt anyways.
Dedicating this season to everybody.
Hey, before I let you go, Matt, did you know we are in a survival football pool brought to you by Yahoo, as always. Enter now for your chance to win $100,000.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I will be sure to join it.
Yeah. Links
And we'll
on
be
our
doing
Facebook.
a pick'em thing also.
That is the pick'em, isn't it?
No, that's not.
No,
the
that's
pick'em.
not Pigskin Pick'em. Nope.
I forgot.
Jeez.
Well, Steffan's in charge.
Is that what
of
you
it.
thought you were setting up?
No, I for some reason confused that just now. I don't know. I had a stroke. Sorry. More information on the pick'em from Steffan whenever he posts that.
Yeah, I just got to reactivate it probably.
Yeah.
But Sean
Any
won that
other
last year.
predictions for championships?
Other than
Yeah,
Steffan versus
I'm going to go
myself?
with me versus Ryan.
How dare you? We're talking
I don't,
about football,
I don't
not
even think
baseball.
you're going to win the division.
Well, obviously you don't. You think you're going to win.
Well, I just didn't want to win. I could be a Cinderella story in the playoffs.
Cinderella story.
No, I probably won't do that well because more than likely I'm going to have the most points scored against me again. So,
Oh, jeez.
so yeah, you guys can listen to me talk about that all year again.
Wow.
Yep, a lot of that.
Matt, what do you think? Who you got?
I'm thinking it's going to be Corey against me. I think we've got some good, well-rounded teams.
You think you got back-to-back appearances in you?
Yeah, I think I do.
Wow. This guy's coming
Feeling strong this year.
Well, he is that
Well,
guy
as long
that
as
keeps
luck
texting
is strong,
Jim
then I'm strong.
I hope luck dies tomorrow. Wow.
Then I've got problems. That was a little bit dark.
That'd be
there.
unlucky.
Wow, I think you got a new number one rival all of a sudden, Matt. Jeez. Then you play him twice a year.
Just based on the fact that he really ranked your team above mine.
It'd only be a rivalry if I thought Steffan could win something, right?
Wow.
That's true.
Okay.
You got to win in order for it
All
to be
right.
called a rivalry. So.
Let me see how. What am I?
Matt, how well do you think Steffan does in our division?
Last year I won one game in the division. Couldn't even beat Mark twice.
Technically speaking, Steffan was supposed to be in the lower division, but we had a new guy.
Oh yeah. So I got to stay.
Just prolong the.
And this year I just barely made it out of having to get relegated.
So just our division record, how he's going to do with those 6 games?
Does he win? Does he win 2 games? Does he beat last year's record?
I think I think he's going to sneak out 2. To be honest, I think it's going to be the 2 against Dan. He's going to win both of those.
Think you guys are going to sweep me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
If I have luck. If I don't have luck, then it's going to be a really close game.
I can't wait for my defense to just fucking destroy all of you, and you guys are just be like, "Oh, why was this guy drafting defense so early?" I'm gonna say, "Fuck all of you."
You're going to need your defense to make up a lot of points because point differential normally isn't that great between defensive players. No.
Okay.
It's true.
I know. I agreed with you. All right.
You can always make a trade, Steffan. Trade some of your, you got one good excess linebacker there. You can make a trade.
Huh? You want to trade for my linebackers? Is that what you said?
No, I don't need a linebacker.
You trying to wheel and deal right here on live podcast?
I'll trade you Bortles for Quan Alexander.
I don't want Bortles at all.
You should hear about one of the trades that was proposed, Matt, in our league. Tell them how Mark was going to get chased.
Oh, maybe he's still listening too, Gary.
Gary offered Mark a trade that was shot down, but wait till you hear it. It's worse than the one that you offered, Kevin. If Kevin thinks that one was bad, wait till he hears this.
Let's see what Kevin thinks about this before we make.
All right, before we say the trade, I want to point out that Mark has already made 10 moves in the league
because he wasn't there for the draft again.
And then there's 2 other teams that have 5 and 6 moves. So
a lot of moves.
Yeah, and the season hasn't even started. So.
All right,
to be fair for Mark, he was projected. I saw on the Yahoo projections to go 0 for 12 or 0 for 13, and now he is projected to win the division. So he's made some pretty good moves.
Wait, it updates the projections like that?
Yeah, if you go on there where it says current standings, there's also current projections.
Huh. I'll have to go look.
So when you do add drops, it changes your projections for the year.
Oh, nice.
Well, it's nice that he has defensive people that are playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped out quite a bit.
And he got a second quarterback.
And he fucking took Mike Evans from me, the bastard.
No, he didn't. He got traded him.
Yeah.
Still.
He needed him.
Yeah, he did.
When you name your team after Mike Evans, you have to have Evans. But anyways, here's the trade that Gary proposed. He wanted to give up Eric Decker and Deshaun Kaiser, right? Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah.
For Ajayi.
In what world is that fair?
I think Gary was trying to bank off the fact that Mark was desperate for a quarterback, but this was like after you guys had already done your trade. So he didn't need a quarterback at that point.
And then Gary just goes and drops both Decker and Kaiser. Just want to point that out there.
Wow.
So, Mark, if you want those guys, they're out there.
You can probably get them a lot cheaper now.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Talk
Yeah,
about
that's
hitting him.
a solid move.
It's ballsy.
What did you guys think of my trade?
Thought it was fine. It was pretty even, straight up.
I may be proposing a trade as we speak right now.
Who was it you gave up? Jared Goff and
Mike Evans for Julio and Savage, right?
For Julio and Keenan Allen.
Oh, Keenan Allen.
I mean, you definitely lost on the wide receiver point, but Keenan Allen is good whenever he stays healthy, but I feel like every year he goes down with an injury.
I really like Yahoo. I can trade away draft picks too.
Yeah, you could trade away future draft picks. Mm-hmm. It's nice. I like it. I'm going to be doing some of that this year. So
yeah,
anybody who wants to trade draft picks
for next year, Steffan.
Any trade that I do is going to involve draft
future
picks.
Drafts.
Yeah. And then you got Julio. Oh, you didn't trade for Julio, or did you?
Yeah, he traded for Julio.
I got
He traded-
Julio in the trade.
Yeah, he traded Mike Evans and Goff for Julio and Keenan Allen.
Oh, he got Julio and Keenan Allen.
Right.
Okay. That's right. I was
For
confused.
Evans and Goff.
Right. So, yeah.
It's pretty straight up. Because
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's going to be worth less than Goff because quarterbacks are valued more.
Right.
And Julio and Evans are going to be close.
Yeah, they'll be close. Evans might even be the better receiver.
I know. It could be either way, yeah.
To be honest, I just felt bad for Mark Nag for the auto draft for the
Don't
the
ever
draft.
feel bad
So
for Mark. He never
I
shows
wanted
up.
to help him out and try to get him another decent
I
quarterback.
I did that for him one year because I had 4 quarterbacks. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give you 2 of them because he had no quarterbacks. And I ended up giving him the 2 better quarterbacks by the end of the year. Because I had Luck.
Is that when you traded him Bortles?
I had Luck and Bradford, and I gave him Bortles and Joe Flacco, and both of those guys ended up doing better because Luck was like injured all year, and Bradford was just Bradford and sucked because he was on the Eagles. So that was the year I went all in on the Eagles, I think. Kind of like what I'm doing this year, so it'll backfire as always.
I was just gonna say, you look at your team lately.
Yeah, I know. Every year, anytime I go all in on the Eagles, it's bad news. So I'll just talk a lot of shit.
And not win games.
It's more fun, anyways.
You're the McGregor.
I'm
of our
gonna
league.
say that. I'm the
Hey,
McGregor of the league.
McGregor actually wins.
I know I'm gonna
once
lose,
in a
but I'm
while.
still gonna talk the most shit.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
No problem. Thanks for having me, and yeah, let me know the next time we want to talk fantasy. Probably, I would imagine after the first week of the season.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
Try and recover our seasons early on. And by the way, you're now down to 3rd most hated in the league. Corey moved up to 2 for his comments today. So there's that.
You've now jumped up to number 1 for me though, Matt. So
He's heartbroken.
congrats.
That's all I really wanted, Steffan.
So now you're number 1 on mine and number 1 on Corey's, right?
Yeah, just because he's my rival. Yeah. We played each other in a championship before, and he beat me. And now he's predicting another championship, and I'm sure he's predicting himself to win again.
Oh.
So he's obviously my rival.
I think it'll be a coin flip.
I don't think either of you make the championship. That's my
Ooh.
call.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
You wanna bet a case on that, Steffan?
Ooh, all right.
There's too many variables. Let's
got high
wait till
stakes.
halfway through the season, then we'll talk.
Oh, backpedaling already.
I'm not backpedaling.
Alrighty, well, thanks for having me, guys, and take it easy.
You too.
See you, Matt.
Matt's not as bad of a guy as I thought he was when I first interacted with him. All right. We've got a lot to cover next week. Next week's show is going to be fun. We're going to have college football game results to talk about, plus previews from that. Corey. But you get
we could do what he did for NBA all year. Ugh. College football again.
Speaking of NBA, we didn't even get to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You want to briefly talk?
For those who didn't hear about it,
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving's on the Celtics. now.
Well,
Maybe.
he's on the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's just Cleveland's trying to get as much as they can out of it, and
Before they lose LeBron.
yeah.
Spoiler alert: LeBron won't be on Cleveland next year.
That's just they're trying to get like some sort of young talent because they know that they're going to be in rebuilding mode, and Celtics are like, no, not happening. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. It's going to get real awkward if the trade ends up not going through and Isaiah Thomas has to come back, and then the locker room's just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to play for, it sounds like, a decent part of the season. So, I mean, I don't know how that all pans out, but at that point, you feel like you're not wanted. So, really, what are you, like, I don't know.
You still got Jay Crowder and a draft pick.
Well, Jay Crowder's gonna feel like he's not wanted either.
I mean, if you just let it go through, and then you get Isaiah halfway through the year, right?
What are you saying? If Cleveland
if Cleveland just accepts the trade, right?
Yeah,
because isn't it Cleveland who doesn't want to?
Yeah. So Cleveland could be the one. If like Boston says no, we don't want to do anything. Like that's all you're gonna get. And Cleveland says no, we don't want the trade anymore.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that if I was Cleveland, I would just be okay with it.
Yeah, they should. They got more than they should.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
yes.
I agree with you 100%. But then I just keep seeing that like the Celtics need to just throw them a second round pick just to get them to shut the hell. Yeah, they're already getting too much.
Jeez,
like
Cleveland,
you're getting
take the East for the 7th time.
You're getting likely a top 5 pick with the Nets pick, probably top 3 pick.
Yeah,
and you're getting a starter in Jay Crowder. You're getting a probably going to be an all-star playing with LeBron
Thomas.
Whenever he's healthy.
Yeah, when he gets healthy. And they already have Derrick Rose, who had a good year last year. Yeah. Oh.
Kevin, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I got distracted by Super Troopers 2 release date officially announced.
This is exactly what I'm going to do when we talk college football.
No,
this leads us right into Steffan's sleeper top 5.
Hold on. I think it's going to be interesting to see, especially if LeBron leaves Cleveland next year, like who's going to be left on that team. Love's not exactly young.
No, Cleveland's going to suck. They're going to be rebuilding again.
But they'll have that Cleveland luck where they'll get like
3 first round
picks in a row and they'll fuck up 2 of them. Like Anthony, what was his name? Anthony Johnson.
Anthony Bennett.
Yeah.
They got Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett in a row.
Yeah.
No, not in a row.
No.
Because Deion Waiters was in between there, but he was number 3.
Yeah.
So they got Irving, Waiters, then Bennett, then Wiggins, or the other way?
I think it was Irving, Bennett, Wiggins. Wiggins was their last one.
Okay. So
because Wiggins never played with them. They traded him away for Love.
So Irving, so you got a 1, a 3, a 1, a 1.
Yeah. So they'll just play that game again, probably.
Yeah.
Until they get a bunch.
But the lottery's not rigged.
It's not rigged.
Only in fantasy football lotteries.
Yeah, I think ours was rigged. Somehow Ryan infiltrated. I don't know how.
Because you pissed him off.
Oh, that probably was that too. I'm not doing a top 5. I don't have a top 5. He was joking. I do not have a top 5.
Top 5 kickers to take in the
top 5. Draft. Top 5 kickers taken in fantasy. Who took one like in the 5th round? Somebody took one in the 5th round.
I don't know.
Shay did, I think. Shay or Colleen. We'll say the top. We'll go with the top 5 missed draft picks.
There you go.
People that shouldn't have drafted them where they drafted them.
Ooh, I got number 1.
I'm gonna say number 1 is the kicker that's not even on the team.
Robert Aguayo.
No, that's not what I was talking about. Who drafted him?
No
Bucks.
one. Oh yeah, Bucks drafted him in the 2nd round last year.
I was talking fantasy football draft.
Well, didn't Shea take a kicker early?
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. But then Dan took 2. That was solid.
Somebody took one in like the 5th round. It was either Shea or Colleen, I think.
Surprised Kevin didn't. He said they hold a lot of value.
Colleen took the Bills kicker that wasn't even a Bills kicker anymore.
That was totally... She had to prove she was the number 1 Bills fan.
She did. I think he's still on her team, too. So she's holding on to that number 1 Bills fan.
She's drafting Thurman Thomas next year, she said.
Hashka.
Hashka.
All right, we are going to be previewing the NFL next week. Whole hour of breaking down each division. That should be fun.
I'm ready.
Finally, it's here. The NFL.
Maybe I'll put some effort into some pre-show work.
That'd be a first.
We're gonna have flashcards.
Yeah.
Just kidding. There'll be no.
We're gonna have a huge whiteboard.
Right
strings
behind
all going all over the place, connecting things.
We're gonna put on a display back here.
Yeah.
Other than that, you guys got anything else to add?
No.
Longest show ever.
top 5 Mayweather performances. Go.
None. In Kevin's book, none.
Never.
Boxing is not his sport.
Nope. Not real
It's
fun.
not for everybody.
I knew what I was getting into when I was watching the fight. Apparently, you didn't know what you were getting into.
I had hope that McGregor, being a fan of McGregor, would like entice me to like boxing. That's what I was hoping for.
That's what boxing is. I don't get excited for. I like to watch the heavyweights fight, but other than that, it's not as exciting. I like you. I don't like the stoppage all the time, and I like to just go at it. Stop. But just put it on the record, when me and Corey have our boxing match, there will be no stoppages. There'll be one stoppage. It'll be Corey hitting the ground. We'll stop the fight at that point.
That's only when I get down to my knees to make sure he's okay.
He's gonna play dead and then just swing up.
His head's too small. There's no way he beats me.
He's gonna yank it off and punt it like a football.
His head is too small and he's too slow. You got that on him.
And I got a good reach on him.
You can jump over him apparently too. I think top 5 episodes was today.
In the words of Rocky, though, it's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can take a hit.
I can take a hit.
And get back up.
I can take a hit.
All right.
As we saw with McGregor Mayweather.
I'm serious about this boxing match.
It's fine. We can do it whenever you want.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I want later. Probably wait till after
Get
school.
the gloves.
Probably gonna wait till after school next summer.
Still cool. Coming back. Deuces.